Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. So, we're just doing our weekly podcast, and I hope you're all doing well. And the topic, the conversation that came up in our book club this week was many things. One of them that we can at least have a talk about is about hope. So, I thought we will just have a few words about that. Um, in my book, this book here, I put this quote from Howard Zinn. And this is how the quote says. It's a long quote. I'll read you a few lines from it that may be relevant to what we are talking about today. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history of cruelty and compassion, courage, sacrifice, and kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents, and to live now as we think human beings should live is defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. So he started the quote. I read you the whole quote actually, because it was one long sentence. So he started the quote by saying, to be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic, it's actually what gets us out of the bad times. So, many times we think there's a saying that prepare for the worst, hope for the best. So, what is hope? How do we define it? And we all may define it in our own ways, in our own words. And I think I define it as the expectation. It's not necessarily an expectation like if I didn't meet that expectation, I'm expecting, it's going to be a bad thing. It's it's the anticipation or the expectation with a little bit of the unknown factor that we can offer up to a prayer. I hope this happens, and there's a prayer attached to it, right? Because hoping to me means that we can expect, but we still have the unknown, and we have no control over the unknown. So we trust what that the unknown might be in our best interest and the best interest of those that are around us. Um, how do we trust when we are praying? We are trusting that the vibes or the prayer are being registered somewhere in the cosmos. Most importantly, where they're being registered really is in our own psyche. So human beings cannot live without hope. Thank you so much for being here. I see 4 people are watching or listening. Say hello, let me know where you're from. And now 5, thank you so much. Um, Hope to me, I think it's the undercurrent of life. So simple examples are when I go grocery shopping, I put my car in the parking lot. I don't have to state it, but I am hoping that when I come back, the car is going to be there, right? but we don't necessarily think about it because it is so built in. So that tells me when it is so built in, we cannot live without hope because there's so much of the life is unknown. So much of the life is not in our control. So when we have no control and when there's so much unknown, what is that power, that force that makes us go on with the belief that all is fine? What is it that makes us go to bed at night thinking that we're going to wake up in the morning? And I know there's some of us who don't, but we don't. We go to bed thinking, yeah, tomorrow I will do this, tomorrow I will go there, right? So when I turn the tap on, I'm hoping, I'm expecting the water to come out of it. So in these simple things, in sometimes the bigger things, hope is the undercurrent, the subtlest force that makes the life go round. We hope for better days. So is hope just a passive concept or passive way of thinking, or is it something else? So when I think about I hope this happens, there's an action attached to it. You study for an exam, you hope that you do well or you pass, right? But you cannot expect that you'll pass if you never open the book. So that would be like passive hope. You can sit around all day and hoping your life is going to get better. So just a simple concept of hope, I think it inspires us to action. It inspires us to participate. It inspires us to co-create. Through hope, we are able to tune into our own power and our own potential and see what it is that we can do. So there is no life without hope, as far as I can. This is my understanding of it. We don't, because we don't talk about it. Because it's difficult to talk about it. It's a subtlest force that, like I said, that makes the world go around. So what is your idea of hope? When you think about hope, what does that make you think of? What does hope do for you? Right? So, I think in the last 2 years, I think there's been a whole lot of hope, hoping for life to get better, hoping for the world to get better, hoping that things will get better. I think the hope has allowed us to move through this time in a big way. When there are challenges, there's difficulty, there may be illness, there may be death. You hope for a better tomorrow. You hope the sun will rise tomorrow. Right? So any action, because anything that we do, we don't really know what result we might get. But we still do the action with the hope, although we don't speak about it, that we may get a desired result, or someone may get a desired result. So I think he writes it such beautifully that to hope for better times is not foolishly romantic, it's a real thing. And he talks about hope also allows us to see the goodness in the world that sometimes gets hidden when the focus is so much on the bad, right? Hope compels us to see the goodness in something. Hope makes us feel compassionate towards other people. I hope you feel better tomorrow. I hope this tough time, you pass through it, you move through it. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You're connecting with another human being, right? So it is such a simple concept, but I think it is so powerful in our everyday life. It's so powerful in our everyday challenges, and so powerful, especially in our worst challenges. So I would love to know what you think of hope, what hope does for you. Um, so when I wrote this book, I was hoping that more and more people will read it. A lot of people are calling it, it's like tiny, mighty book. It's small, readable, simple, and easy to read, but there's a lot of stuff packed in there. That's why we're using this book as a discussion, because the discussion is going to open up our mind in a ways that we may never imagine. There's depth in the book that we can continue to have a conversation about. Um, so, I my point of doing the lives was to engage with people more. Maybe somebody writes a comment, even somebody's watching is encouraging, because so much of the podcast and things like that, they're recorded beforehand. So live was a way for me to engage with you. And so I don't necessarily have an agenda or a topic on my mind. It's not pre-planned. So I just kind of come on and see what's been happening this week, and what's something that I can say something about. And so it's really your participation, your engagement is going to make these lives much more alive. So if I usually do them on Fridays. Between 11 and 1. I'm running a little late today. I don't want to pin myself to say 11 o'clock, because my schedule is flexible. It changes. So I want to give myself a little bit of room. It's mostly Friday morning, still about, I wouldn't do it any later than 2, I don't think, until something comes up. So if you're available, then you can tune in. And so I keep talking about these book discussion. We have a book club discussion, and you can join. Just go to my website, ayurvedichealingcenter.com, and there's a tab there saying our healing community. You can join the list only to be notified when our next meeting is going to be. And we just get together for an hour. It's still in the forming stages. We only had 2 meetings. We're still trying to figure out how to do that. So if you want to be a part of that, go to my website and sign up for that list, so you get notified as to when the next meeting is. And if you haven't purchased the book, please do so. So much light here. It's Wake Up and Heal, 6 Steps to, let me turn the light up. Wake Up and Heal, 6 Steps to Emotional Freedom. It's available on Amazon. You can also get a digital copy, by the way, from my website. So there's a digital copy is Kindle and paperback on Amazon. So thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. It's Mother's Day weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all of those who will be celebrating. Happy Mother's Day to everyone anyways. It's the feminine energy that's rising, Mother Earth, and it's such a creative force that we can take time to celebrate. So enjoy your weekend. I would love to know if these are helpful, if what other topics you like to talk about. I'm pretty much going to use this book as a premises, but there's so much in this book. And I would love to know what your idea of hope is, where hope has helped you navigate through a difficult time. And what's hope's relationship with the prayer and trust? How do you see all of that? So thank you so much for joining, and I will chat with you next Friday. Take care.